right now. So much for getting here early. And are we live? Maybe. I don't know. Looks like it's thinking.
We can start chatting over here while you're connecting us.
So do me a favor. Well, I guess I can go on my phone and look.
And if you need Luxie or me to look anything up while we get started, I will do that.
Okay, I'm just looking. I'm gonna go to myself and see if I can see myself. Go to my wall and see if I'm live. Oh, I am. Look at, I'm live. So are we.
Okay, cool.
We're live. So you can share it. You can share it right to go ahead and share it to Calm in the Storm.
Okay, so I'm going to get started then.
Yeah.
Hi, Shannon, and welcome. I'm Amy Traylor. Welcome to everybody watching. We're so excited to be doing this again. I started this business as an extension of Massage Works during COVID, with hopes of bringing peace and calm to people's souls. And it's very exciting what it has grown to become. We are now going to be teaching classes for that exact purpose, to help people find peace, find forgiveness, and find abundance in their future. So if you're interested in that, please check out Calm in the Storm and what these wonderful ladies are teaching. I'm teaching a few classes too, and we're going to mention those. But anyhow, how are you guys today?
Good. Doing good. Hi everybody out there. It's good to meet with you today. I'm Lexi.
Yeah. And you?
Ashley again, hi.
And we got Shannon over there via Zoom.
Hi.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about just happenings in the world and what's going on. We started this community discussion because it just seemed like we weren't getting the whole story, and so we are a few people who have dove into some of the information and tried to figure out what's truth and what's not, and we're just excited to share that information and to talk about it with the community. So we're calling it Lifting the Veil, because we literally have had a veil over us about the truth. And as we lift that, we start to see more of our reality, and it's exactly where we need to head. We need to be able to share what we're learning together.
Yeah,
and support each other.
Definitely. I definitely see that coming too, because it's been prophesied, it's been spoken about for a long, long time now. And Amy is very intrigued with the Age of Aquarius concept. Just to break it down for everybody, every 25,000 years, the cosmic cycle will change. There's different zodiacs, it'll change to a different zodiac sign, but we've been in Pisces, which is duality and corruption and greed and materialism. And it's kind of iffy about exactly when Aquarius started, but I'm pretty sure it was 2020 somewhere in here. And that's all about humanitarianism and community and truth coming out, which I believe is what we are saying now. And just peace and, you know, all the good stuff. So we're literally starting that cycle now, and there's cycles upon cycles, but yeah, so that's really why all this is happening and all the craziness is coming out now. It was destined, you know, it's been written, you know, by everybody, the Bible and the Hopi prophecies and all, I mean, everybody mentioned, exactly.
It's in every culture.
Yep.
It's in every culture.
They all said the same thing almost too.
And you know, there's like, we got that Kali, the Yuga,
Yeah.
the Kali Yuga stuff, you know, there's all these different things that are definitely telling us the signs are everywhere. We are in a space of changing times.
Yeah, you can feel it. You can feel it in the air. You can feel it in your friends and your family. And that's another reason we wanted to do this, is because we want to reach out and have discussion and support each other. So feel free to share this, share with people who are scared or stressed, people who you care about that don't know a lot of what we might talk about. And yeah, we're just excited to be here. So I'm gonna hold this up really quickly. So this is our, let's see how we can see that.
Is it orange?
She's veiled.
Yeah, so this is what we're doing here. It's a community discussion for all. It's called Lifting the Veil. And we're at the Salt Spa, the Alpena Salt Spa in Alpena, right next to Save-A-Lot.
Sit in the salt,
Yeah,
cleansing ourselves.
we're literally sitting in beautiful Himalayan salt, barefoot and on a meditation pillow. And yeah, very cleansing, and it's a beautiful place to be, and you guys can join us every Wednesday at 4:30.
I like it.
Yeah, and share. So we had such a good meeting last time. Actually, we decided to, instead of waiting every week, since there's so much happening and coming out, we got together on Zoom on Monday and had Sean Black join us as a special guest, and it was amazing. Some of the things we talked about, I learned so much.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
I missed it. I was like, oh man, like the whole time. I'm like, I want to, yes, exactly.
We've got surprises for you.
It was really awesome. And yeah, we just talked about so much. And so feel free to look back at that video. It's on Calm in the Storm. Anyhow, so I don't know. We want to have discussions on whatever you guys are interested in. And we also just want to mention that we have awesome classes to help people learn through this stuff and learn how to heal their hearts and their souls and move forward. I would love if you would mention a couple of the classes that you're teaching
That tapping thing, I've heard of that
I'm
tapping
so
thing.
excited. Amy, somehow we just navigated into each other's lives. I can't even remember how, or besides,
It's almost cosmic how we met, huh?
Yeah, it usually happens like that. These individuals that you are in alignment with, it's just like it's such a random connecting of
You're like
each other
magnets,
that
you're like magnets almost.
yeah, and it just kind of fades away of how it even happened. She came to me with the idea of getting these classes together for the community during time of crisis, COVID, pandemic, and everyone being in their homes and being in that space divided, because there's a lot of division. And the idea that we can come together and there is a space for us to do things together and act and be like humans is really awesome. And some of the classes that I chose to do, and emotional intelligence is really something that's important to me. It's deep, and it's also part of my path. It's really strong with where I'm at in my lifetime right now. And it's been for about 10 years working with emotions, working with my personal self. And I'm just super hyper focused on learning how to control my own being. And so emotional intelligence is a big thing for me. And I've learned so much on my journey of trauma healing and just emotions and feelings and how to navigate them. So that's one of the classes that I do have that I'm offering to the community. And then we have a tapping, EFT tapping, which is something that's based in, it is part like a Chinese method with like modern psychology. And basically it's the idea of speaking to our bodies and touching certain areas on our bodies while we're speaking to ourselves, so that we're kind of getting a better heart, body, mind connection, and it's coming together, because many of us are just kind of in our heads. And I've worked with this in other projects and groups, and there's so much success in this. I mean, you can use it all the way from weight loss to extreme trauma and childhood trauma. It's very dynamic. There's just so much diversity to using it. We've got women's empowerment circles, some things for the science of the law of attraction to understand how to manifest and how to work with your thoughts, creating your reality. And there is some power in that. There's some energetic ways where we are creating, we are co-creators together. We are creators. We are the creators. We have a creator, but we are created to create also.
Yeah.
And we just know all of these things to do and how to live and be. and that's part of our creation. And there's many more others that we have. Would you like to share some of yours?
Yeah, sure. So I do an hour or two long class on mindfulness, just that's very similar to what she's talking about, just paying attention to what you're thinking. It helps to create your reality. And so a lot of us go through life without really thinking about what we're thinking about. And it's important to put the right things in. Chakras 101. So if you've heard of chakras, or if you have any experience with meditation, or you've seen the person who's meditating with the rainbow colored dots up their center, those are chakras, and they are energy centers in our body, and they help us to kind of navigate what's going on inside, and how to pay attention to the emotional imbalances, where you might be stuck, where you might have too much energy flowing, where you don't have enough flowing, and that's pretty awesome. And that actually connects in with Reiki as well. I'm doing intro to Reiki, which is energy work, and it is amazing what it can do. When you put your love and intention and tap into God, it can heal, and so it's amazing. Art with love in mind. So I collect heart stones like no other. I see heart stones everywhere I go, and I can't help but pick them up. And so I have lots of heart stones and barnwood, and so I want to start doing art classes regularly. And I know that we all need to get out. We need to stop being stuck at home and having nothing to do. Let's get together and spread some love. And then I think there was one more I wanted to mention, was just, well, I'll mention two. Essential oils, healing with essential oils. That's really simple, and yeah, they help us physically and emotionally, so and spiritually. And then vision boards is the other one, and that's really for creating what you want in your life. Putting it on paper, deciding, taking the time to decide, make it look pretty, put it somewhere in your home, and it's amazing when you look at that every day how it starts to come to fruition. Shannon, tell us about some of your classes, please.
Yes.
What am I teaching now? My classes are 6 to 8 weeks. We haven't really figured out, it's going to run into the new year, I think, a little bit. So however they fall, and maybe it depends on the size of the classes as well, and how deep of a dive people want to go into. But 6 to 8 weeks, I think, is going to be a good range. Self-sovereignty. We're going to look into some of that. Soul contracts, ancestor karma. Sorry, I have to do this list in my head. We're looking at if anybody's ever heard of Imagine a Woman in Love with Herself. There's a book that's been developed into, which is a beautiful curriculum, actually. So the Rise of the Divine Feminine, which also goes along with the Age of Aquarius, which is really pretty.
Nice.
I can't actually read it without crying, so I'll have to work on that. And then and the counterpart, the divine masculine, as well. So we don't rise separately, we rise together, right? So
Yeah,
and then a little bit on the Norse religion. So did I miss them? There's 7. So
no, I love the soul contracts. Can you talk about soul contract just a little bit?
Yeah, soul contracts is we find ourselves, everything in life is a mirror, and we don't necessarily see exactly why that happens, because perhaps it's really easy for our friends to go, well, gosh, you do that same thing every time you get into a relationship. It could be, and it could be any kind of relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean romantic, but there's those things that always kind of come up and stir up, and they cycle back around and around and around. And it's like, what's the definition of insanity, right? Sometimes we're really, really close to it. And how do we step outside of our ego a little bit? And, we're just human. And I think we all are a victim of that in some way. And so it's kind of a contract. It's kind of like, what do we come here to learn? And sometimes there's a lot of layers to it. And if we can learn from it and move on, and on a very deep level, we can wrap that up and move on to the next stage of our growth, and kind of wrap it up and get to the next level of abundance in all ways, not just, in love, but in so abundance doesn't necessarily mean money, but all
Right.
kinds of abundance. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's basically what it means. Mhm.
And what else is one of the classes that you're teaching that you mentioned already, but it's just ancestral karma and it's similar.
It is,
But a
it
little
is kind of, and some of those things kind of weave into the other. Sometimes we're gifted with those soul contracts in some ways, because we learn how to take care of certain things in our relationships by what's modeled to us by our family of origin. And we, not sometimes, like all the time.
Yeah.
So and ancestral karma, it sounds like it's something really deep and mystic, but I was talking to a friend of mine, a girlfriend from high school, that one of those friends that you can just pick up. We don't have any like really specific things that we remember from high school, but we just remember each other because we're a fixture at some point, all those years in high school. But we were talking about some things in her family of origin and like just some weirdness that has come up over the years, which we can all relate, right? And
Yeah.
we got into this conversation. We were about half hour through it, and I'm like, hey, you know what? You're doing some ancestral karma stuff right now. And she's like, what, really? And yeah, because that's basically how some of my stuff happened, and kind of got turned up and turned over, and some really cool things happen. You do a lot of tremendous healing, and it just happens, and incredible things happen in emotional waves that you don't even anticipate, but really cool. And they really do release a lot of things. You do a lot of like unintentional cord cutting. If you've ever experienced the cord cutting ceremonies or fire ceremonies that are really beautiful, and they're really so unique to you that there's just no way to explain them until you go through them for yourself. And it's just your own personal blessing. So experiencing those alongside and shepherding people through that process will be, I really hope that I get to experience that with people. So
Yeah.
And I just want to share something just to kind of back this up, because there's a lot, when we hear things like that, it goes so deep into spirituality and mystic kind of feeling things that we're just like, but what this is and what we're talking about is intergenerational trauma healing.
yeah,
And this is scientifically already discovered it already has a name in psychology. It's called intergenerational trauma.
Wow.
And that's what we're working with, and that's what we're healing. And there have been studies that were done, in our events that has happened in our lifetime. And it started around 9/11 because they discovered that the children, the fetuses that were in the bellies during 9/11 of the mothers, they all had the same trauma, but they were within the womb.
Yeah.
But it affected them. And
Wow.
from that, we started learning more about how real intergenerational trauma is, and how, let's just say, an individual, myself, I'm working with a lot of stuff that was in my family past from my ancestors, and it's within us, it's in our bodies,
right.
it's in our DNA, it's in our memories, it's in the space and time around us. And so we're working on it, whether we like it or not. And we have classes like Shannon has to offer us to really navigate it.
Well, Lexi and I had a conversation. I swear I went on like a 2-hour walk and just kept on walking around town. Lexi and I had this really long talk one day, and we talked about
It
ended up going into like the string theory of metaphysics and how that's been debunked. Like,
Oh my
and it talked about, I don't know, it just went all over the place. But how the water has frequency, and that actually water has memory, and that's part of that, because our cells our cells are water, they have memory, and that when you like things like when people talk about spiritual experiences when they like enter like bodies of water, like the Ganges or the Ganges of the river, like they have spiritual experiences. There's reasons for that, because that water has memory, stuff like that. Like we can't really necessarily test that. We just know it because we know it in our souls. So
Right.
we can. I mean, science.
Yeah,
right?
the knowing is one of our senses. It is a sense. We're not talking about knowledge learned. We're talking about the knowing, gut intuition that you just feel from connection to source. It's just a oneness of
Well, unless you stand in front of the microwave too much.
It might kill your knowing.
Disconnect.
Don't stand in front of the microwave too much.
Just joking. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, well, when it comes down to it, really, everything is frequencies, and that's really the core, that's the core of everything is the vibration and frequencies of everything. That's why crystals do what they do. That's why we feel better in nature. That's why, you know, you let go of that trauma. I know exactly what you mean by ancestral karma. I'm dealing with it in my solar plexus, and thank God I don't feel it anymore, because I could feel it, a dense ball of energy in your stomach, and it drives you nuts. And my whole family has Crohn's and the same problems I do emotionally. I mean, it's kind of like it does.
Yeah.
We need Sean right now. We totally need Sean right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, dude, I gotta talk to him. I want to be on next time. I'm making sure I'm on next time.
After our show, we have a show, I don't know, whatever, our thing the other day, my friend was really not feeling good, and so he has her on a regimen. Like, he thinks that she has COPD. I can't remember how something that she was exposed to, and he really thinks that she's not going to have it in like a month.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that amazing?
I bet you any money, mine's healing right now, because I'm feeling a lot better, and I haven't been taking my medicine. I'm just doing energy work on myself. That's the only thing I've been doing for it.
Yeah.
And shadow work and all that fun stuff.
It'd be amazing if she doesn't have that. So
yeah.
And we'll send you some healing vibes for that too.
Thank you. But yeah, it really just comes down to, like Tesla said it, Einstein said it, the key to the universe is vibrations and frequencies. And I literally, I can't prove it, but I bet you any money that's how they built the pyramids, with levitation, you know? So, I mean, there's way more out there that we have to work with.
Right, and we don't maybe necessarily understand it, but that's what we're working towards,
right.
You know, and that's part of why we're having these classes. So please just know that we are waiting to see who wants what classes before we set them all up. So let us know, because we're here, man. We're ready to help you and to learn from you. Every time I have one of these classes, I'm like so blessed by everybody who comes. So
we also got the royal cacao ceremonies and breath work as well. And there was some other one that we've got stories of the soul. So we'll, you know, just coming together. I think that connection is so important, and knowing you're worthy, you're capable, and you are loved, and you are capable of loving also. And coming into these connected spaces and classes and the women's circles of empowerment, some of those things are just to really remind us who we are again. Because with all the chaos in the world, we drift so far away from it. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of things that pull us away from our what we were born to be birthed with, our birthrights.
And it wasn't to pay bills and then die. It wasn't just to work and pay bills. That's not what we're here for.
No, there's a lot more, and I think that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed right now, is a different level of consciousness. Understanding that this three-dimensional crap is not what we're meant for. We're meant for something better and more beautiful. So I'm excited about where the world is headed.
Yes. We are very deserving.
Yeah, so just to finish up the last thing I'll just mention about the classes is that we have a survey on Calm in the Storm, so you can just check the boxes of which ones interest you. There's like 30 classes we're offering, so it's amazing and exciting.
There is one for you out there.
Yeah,
we're in there.
Probably. We're actually going to be taking each other's classes, so it'll be awesome. So anyhow, I want to get to the news, and you know, there's so much in the news, but I don't know what's actually being shown to the public,
right?
Because I don't really watch that news. I get other news from other places, other sources. And the main thing that people have talked about recently is the Hunter Biden, and is Joe Biden connected to what Hunter Biden's done? And it seems like there's proof that half of the money that Hunter Biden got from these different countries who don't like America, he has split it half and half with Pops. And so it seems that there's going to be some, I don't know, he's going to have to he's gonna have to speak for what they've done, you know, and, but what really is even a bigger story than that to me is that the way it's been censored, immediately shut down by Facebook, by Twitter, and just the whole thought about how censored our information is so upsetting. We can't have a free country if we don't know the information, especially when we're talking about someone who could be running our country and who has basically sold us to sold out America.
Them censoring is just proving that that is in fact true. Otherwise, I don't think they'd really care, and they wouldn't be as ridiculous as it is. It's bad. It is bad right now.
I mean, listen, folks, the reason why things are getting censored is because they don't want us to hear it.
Yeah.
And who gets that choice? Who gets that choice to tell us what we're able to take in and receive and what we're not? That's that's our choice.
Yeah.
That's our choice, not someone outside of us that we don't even know who.
Right.
You know?
And so that's why, you know, some of us have dove in a little bit and went after some of the information, and they like to give us what terms that might be a little bit of a negative term, negative connotation, like conspiracy theorists. If you know, but why wouldn't you investigate when you don't feel like you're being told all the information? Why wouldn't?
Well, they like to use domestic terrorists too now. That's another one. It's like, because you're for, you know, you're patriotic or, you know, whatever, however they
It's
define
never been wrong to be patriotic before this year.
Right.
I feel like we just have gotten to a point where we've been under so much programming that we've allowed unknowingly, until you do figure it out, unknowingly, we have been directed into there's a director. There's a director directing our character into a space where we are not, we're not to be in the know at all of, it's a script.
Yeah.
It's a script.
It's all fake. It's all fake.
We're living in a movie.
Yeah, a bad one.
And so some of us are coming out and some of us are saying, hey, I don't want to be, I'm not
Exactly.
reading off the script.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my true, authentic self to the table. Let me. Well, it's not even about letting me. I am, you know?
Yeah.
And I
Take it or
think
leave it.
everyone is going to eventually come to a space whether you're, you know, where you're going to decide.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Wherever you're at on that, it's okay.
Yeah, well, I don't know about you guys, but that's what it feels like. It's more intense. And it's like ready to explode. And I'm like, go ahead, guys. I understand. I want to explode too.
Right. And when you explode, when you come out with your, I'm going to be my authentic true self.
Yeah.
And I'm going to express how I feel and I have questions.
Yeah.
Then it's going to let others know, oh, wow, I have questions too, but I didn't know I could do that.
Right.
That's
You
like
know?
with the mask thing. It's like everybody's like, oh, I don't have to wear a mask. You know what I mean? It's like, no, man, no.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
Exactly. It feels so freeing to just breathe fresh air. We are free to do that. 100%. Yeah. So some of the things that haven't been in the news. I mean, it goes way back. I mean, I just have been learning this over the last few months, and it goes back to some things like, I've heard that it's an inside job. It's been an inside job. 9/11 is one example that has been said. It was actually done by our people in our own country.
False flag is
False
term.
flags.
If you guys want to look into it, it's false. You know, false flag is the term for it. But
False
yeah.
flags, okay. And another is the assassination of JFK. There's,
Both done by the CIA. Yeah.
done by the CIA.
Yeah.
Okay,
That isn't it.
so,
And listen, guys,
And
if you
bushes.
have any information on these type of things and want to share, please talk with us while we're actually live chatting.
yeah.
Please.
chime
Yes,
in.
yes.
Yeah,
Because we're not stating that we are like professionals or anything like that. We're coming together
right.
to explore truth and where it's at.
I mean,
And hopefully change.
yeah, because we need to know if this is the truth. I mean, we need to share this with people who don't know, who are just sitting back watching nightly news yeah, it's, I mean, I've even heard that some of the school shootings might have been planned and directed by people in charge of our country to keep us in fear and to keep mayhem happening and to keep, I mean, what do you guys think?
I don't doubt it for 1 second.
Well, that's
I'm totally,
That's the vibration thing again, is they're trying to keep our vibration low with fear and garbage food and medicine, and, so it's everything's about vibration, and that's just fear is one of the densest emotions, so yeah. for
and I
sure.
get that we could be looked at while expressing these things, and from you, the viewer on the other side, and looking at us and be like, what? How? No, well, do your work.
Yeah, it's out there.
Do your work. Take
It's
it
out
in for
there.
yourself, because when you do your work, you are only going to listen to yourself the most. That's where your truth is. It's inside of you. And so, use that tool that you have of doing, and do some action. If you have questions, listening to the seeds being planted here and there, and then it can trigger us too. That's a whole nother thing. But having the seeds being planted, water it. If it does trigger you, water it by researching. Water it. Get your answers. Get your answers.
Yeah.
Get your questions answered.
Well, why does
Right.
it trigger people? I mean,
Probably because they don't know.
well, it's kind of maddening.
Oh, I know.
Right?
I know. Everybody's got their baggage, everybody's got their traumas, who knows,
Right.
but
Maybe it's a
People don't wanna
different
know.
yeah,
answer for everyone. Maybe it's just a different.
yeah.
Think about that feeling. Sorry guys, I'm eating. I didn't have lunch, and it's really late. So, but thinking about that space that we go into when you're talking with someone and they tell you something so deep on a level about your own self, and it triggers you. And you're just,
Yeah.
it triggers you because you weren't conscious about it.
Mhm.
And then it comes up later. And so some of these things, when you don't have an answer and you can't define it and you can't connect the links in your mind and comprehend it, it's going to make you feel like what? I should know these things, and you're telling me this and I don't know. And that can be part of ego that we're working with, because we're all working with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have, you know what? So let's start with sources. Do we have some sources for people who only go to Google or to Facebook or to Twitter?
Well,
Because they are censoring
Yeah, there's
everything.
not much left on there anymore.
There's not, a lot of information that we used to be able to find there isn't there anymore. So we have a few other sources, right?
well, Google's going to show you the narrative.
The narrative, okay.
Well, I mean, what is that? There's a show that came out. Actually, it's still running. Something about it talks about like how like the like clicks get tracked, and how gosh, it'll come to me. The name of the show.
I
Is it
don't know.
Netflix? Or no, it
I
wasn't.
don't have Netflix.
I don't
I live
watch-
in the boonies.
I don't watch Netflix, but it was also on YouTube, I think. But somebody, if you know it, somebody knows it. They'll stick it on our comments, maybe.
All right.
Hopefully. And anyway, it'll it'll show you just the narrative that Google will, because it's based on what you've already searched a million times. And so if you're gonna only looked up Nike shoes on Google, and you looked up sneakers, athletic shoes, it's gonna show you a whole bunch of Nike shoes, right? The next time you look up sneakers.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
It's like an algorithm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like what's on Facebook, how we always see the same friends posts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So we have a list of like 16 YouTube channels that had gotten removed. And we have the where they've moved to now so that we can view them. And we can post that list under in the
Yeah.
comments for you
so
all.
it's the same thing, but imagine that. So you've got your own self kind of censoring. So like, you know, taking you to what you like. And now they're like taking out stuff that's censoring you. I mean, most of us watching this were around when the parent advisory stickers went on like Two Live Crew albums, right?
Right.
And they had to put out two different ones so that you could, you know, so it could be sold in, what was that, Camelot Music or something? At the mall,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, I mean, this isn't new stuff. Not new
Yeah.
information. I mean, obviously we shouldn't have been listening to it. It was really dirty, you know, like we shouldn't have been watching or listening to that. So, but that's not this. That's not the same thing. This is actual information that if you have the ability to use your intelligence, you should be able to discern whether or not it's information that you can use or not. It's not,
Right.
you know,
Right.
not bad language.
Right. I mean, it's about the people who are running our country. And
It's not
about
bad language that they're feeding 10-year-olds. It's not
Right.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it's information we all need.
Right.
Period.
So alternative, the one that I like to use is DuckDuckGo, right? Does anybody else have a different one?
That's the main one I use. DuckDuckGo. Instead of Google,
Instead of Google.
you can find a lot of information there.
And if you have any suggestions, send them over to us, please, so we can share with everyone else.
Right. So transitioning into MK Ultra, what do you guys know about MK Ultra? And what do you want to share? Because I don't know much about it.
Well, this came out of nowhere.
She probably knows more about it than I do.
What did you say, Shannon?
I didn't know we were talking about MK Ultra.
Yeah, she's dropping a bomb again.
Well, all right. I don't know much about it. All I know is it exists.
Yeah, well, it's another control mechanism, you know?
Okay.
So they cover almost every base you can imagine. It's you know, a psychological thing. It's
What-
they know how to traumatize and how to control people.
What
So,
what brought you to that thought, because that kind of goes into the Sandy Hook stuff, and I mean it does. That's just one part of it. That's just one thing. I mean that's a conspiracy theory. I mean,
Okay.
that's just one, and those things pop up because people are trying to make sense of why somebody in their right mind, or anyone, even somebody that's sick and depressed. I mean, depressed people. I mean, you do the profile on this kid, from what I understand, because I didn't do it myself. I just listened to some stuff, lots of stuff, but I can't even remember the guy's name. But he really didn't profile as somebody that was going to take a gun and kill all these kids. So where did this come from? He was depressed, is what they think he, it doesn't
Well, most of
usually.
them are on medications. Yeah, most of them are on psychological medications of some kind.
Yeah.
Mental illness, something. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you got those outliers that are probably going to, maybe do something, and this happened to be that one. But so you get that kind of, idea that maybe he had some interactions with MK Ultra stuff, but MK Ultra can be lots of different things. So I'm wondering what kind of brought on the idea or triggered the thought, okay, let's talk about MK Ultra today.
Well, just
Where did you hear it from for the first one? Like, is it just something that?
I've heard it from many different people, and that's why I'm like, well,
It's an interesting one.
I'm
It's
just gonna
interesting.
bring that up today
I
because
hear it a lot about celebrities.
Yeah.
Like for the most, I in time, it's like MK Ultra and celebrities.
Well, control. That's
I'm not saying it's only in that area. That's just where I had first heard the link with this programming of human beings. And a lot of them were connected to
celebrities.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes. And from what I've heard, Shannon, I don't know if you've got some stuff over there, but from what I've heard, it's been around for a very long time. Scientists look at what is it? Who was working on it in the very beginning? Wasn't there a certain doctors and scientists that
Nazis.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm
okay.
pretty sure Hitler was in on
some of
it.
those type of people.
He was
you
very
know?
interested in the spiritual,
There's a lot of
unseen
different
stuff, so.
things that were going on. I mean, we even have stories of, I know there was, I don't remember the name or recall the name, but there was a group of children that were living in a really big setting, a home, where they were being dosed with psychedelics.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
all of them.
He had his own psychics and mediums
You know?
and, yeah.
So
He was
it's,
into all that stuff too.
yeah, breaking your spirit.
Pretty much.
Breaking
there-
your spirit. Breaking your
I
soul.
mean,
you
I think
know?
there's going to be lots of different parts to MK Ultra, and how is it used now? How is it used then? What did they do? There was lots of experimentation. Yes.
Maybe we can set up something for future time and gather all the information that we can to share with
That's
others.
documented too.
All of it?
Not all of it, but as much as we can in a little window of time so we can give some information out to those that
I think the biggest takeaway is the splitting of altars.
Okay.
You understand what that
Can you
means?
explain altars to us and everyone, Shannon, please?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you explain the altars to
Yeah.
everyone?
Yep. The splitting altars is the splitting of the psyche. So, and lots of, that's one of the things that they experimented on, is different ways to split the altars. Now, you guys are familiar with multiple personalities. That happens through trauma, and trauma during a certain age,
Okay.
right?
And they work with that somehow, so.
So you can do that. You can do that during a certain age, or you can regress somebody to that certain age, because we say that we work on our inner child in psychology, right? So, it gets pretty deep. It gets kind of weird. It gets a lot of weird.
Yeah.
I guess
The
it's
idea that every year that you have lived, that age of who you are, that mental space of who you are lives within you. Like, so I'm 37 years old. I have 37 me's within me. And, when we get emotionally triggered and different things, you can see those parts of you coming out. You can see, and I don't want it to be this way. Well, that's reality, and so our parts of ourselves will come out of it from those spaces in our time that we've lived.
That's interesting.
so. I mean, I guess that would be the biggest takeaway. And so from that aspect, and there's lots of people that know a lot more, obviously. And they split those because they're then assets. They're then assets for use. Like potentially, and the reason why I brought the Sandy Hook young man up, I can't remember that kid's name, I'm sorry, is when you want to activate an asset for use, is you give them a trigger to activate that altar to do that job.
It's just like
Everybody's seen Jason Bourne, right?
Yeah.
And he was activated. I mean, there's your soft disclosure. We've all seen it paraded around right in front of our faces, right? So we all thought it was a movie. Yeah, it is, but that stuff happens. So.
And some of us that have been, even exploring around with the programming and stuff like that, that has been given to us, and the really strong ones like the MK Ultra and different ones like that. There's so many. I can't even talk about them on that level of knowing individualism of each of them. But with the MK Ultra, just connecting with the altar and the split personalities, how many videos did we see of celebrities being there and their eyes started twitching and, it being labeled, oh, the MK Ultras, it's glitching on them and stuff like that. Where they're just kind of having
those moments or
Breakdowns.
the breakdowns. Of course, if I was a celebrity and I wasn't even programmed, just living that type of lifestyle would
Right.
break me down
Right.
eventually.
Yeah.
You know, because it's
It's
being,
too much.
yeah,
Mhm.
being in that space 24/7.
Judged.
Wow.
All the time, judged all the time. Yeah, I wouldn't want it, no. But yeah, it's, there's a lot of things going on that are scary and that are, make people wonder, oh my gosh, where are we headed? Are we headed into a bad place? But we have to remember that if we keep our vibration high, that helps the collective. And that is the goal, to find our peace and to know that I think there's a greater power in charge and that we're headed where we're supposed to be going. And it's a beautiful place.
Well, the prophecy, once again, you know what I mean? Just, I'm gonna say the Bible because it's the most prominent, thing we have to go on, but in the end, good wins,
Yeah.
In the end, we get our Eden back and everything's great and Jesus reigns and we win. So, but you have to unveil and you have to let go of the negativity and the denseness to be able to rise up.
Yeah.
So to get the truths out and to heal and raise our vibration is the most important thing we can do right now. But if it helps anybody to feel better, the good guys win. So it's all good.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, dare I say,
It's all good.
we already have.
Right,
And everything could be just playing out.
Yes. Thank you,
Right
sister.
now, because
Thank
it
you.
has to play out.
Yes, no, we've been having this
We've
spiritual war for a
created
long
this,
time. Yeah, we've
And
been
it
doing this
takes
for a long
time for it to play out. I mean, and this goes back to the thoughts creating reality. It's not like I'm gonna think of, okay, I want an elephant, and the elephant's not gonna drop into the room. You know what I mean? It takes time
Yes.
to process. It takes time to play out. And like I said, dare I say, we already won,
Right.
and things are just unwinding and fizzling out.
I'm with you.
And we're
Yes,
seeing
for
that
sure, man.
happen.
I believe
Yeah.
it.
I feel that, and I mentioned this before, that COVID was kind of a changing time for us. It's made many of us wake up and lift the veil. And that's why we keep saying that the community discussion is called Lifting the Veil, because we want to see.
Well, some people are sleeping a little too hard, so we gotta shake them up.
Yeah, I mean, we should question things, and it's hard sometimes to learn those truths. Some of these things we're talking about are heavy, but it's so much better to know.
Well, that's like a dark night of the soul. You are literally, you as a person are dropping this baggage that don't suit you any longer. And then when you're done with this, I've had at least one dark night of the soul, and it's the worst thing in the world. It's like everything, you lose everything type thing. And afterwards, you get put on the path you're supposed to be on with the people you're supposed to be with. And it's immensely better, but you got to get through the hard part to get to the good part. So I think that's where we're at right now.
Oh my God.
But yes,
Evolving.
it will work out in the long run. I don't know how, but I know it will because I'm just excited. I don't know why. I have nothing really to be excited about. We got a pandemic and a stupid election and all kinds of other stuff. And I'm just so giddy half the time. I'm excited for something. And that's another thing I wanted to mention was December is an astronomical event. There's multiple happening again in December. So that should be interesting. I've been keeping an eye on the past few years. Every eclipse, any of that weird stuff that goes on up there, retrogrades even and stuff, something always happens when stuff happens up there. As above, so below. So I'm very excited for December. We have another solar eclipse. It's going to be intense again. So.
I've heard some chatter around also.
I think that's why I'm excited.
That in 2012,
Mhm.
this gets a little complicated. I don't know if you want to mention it. But in 2012, how we had that whole, we approached like the end of the world,
Right, the
times and
Mayan
stuff like
calendar, yeah.
that it's coming again.
Right.
It's this year. So this, I've heard this
Right.
in the talk. But as we know, it didn't end, but it was like a new beginning.
Right.
Was it not? And also there's something that we have a delay of 8 years.
Yeah.
So what was playing out 8 years ago is playing out now.
Oh, wow.
So that goes deep.
Mm-hmm.
That goes deep, and it's really difficult even for my own self to, I haven't really wrapped my comprehension around it. And I'm, but it's curious, makes me curious. Because doesn't it feel so similar to 2012? Do you remember 2012?
A little bit.
Where everybody was
Because everybody was making fun of me.
frantic,
Everybody was like, okay, crazy, nothing happened. And I'm like, that's not how it works. But I honestly think we don't have a very good idea of the calendar. We're not really using the right calendar we're supposed to be using anyway.
If you're curious,
So
look into the 8-year
we might have
delay.
got that wrong, but this December 21st is solstice
Yeah,
and
the solstice, the equinox.
Jupiter and Saturn are conjuncting in Aquarius, which has not happened in 200 years. So that's gonna be something good. I mean, right?
Actually,
And actually the theme of it is death and rebirth, new beginning. So
nice.
I'm down.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a special guest next week. A friend of mine, Nicole Suris, is gonna come and she's gonna talk about astrology a little bit. And
Oh, that's gonna be exciting.
Yes.
I mean, I'm so excited too, because it's a lot for me to grasp. And so I'm like, just keep it simple for us.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we can kind of follow along, because if you don't study it, it's
Yeah.
interesting, you know?
And there's a lot there,
Kind of, yeah. I'm always there's a little bit of confusion, but I love what I learned. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting to have some insight as to what the stars tell us.
Yeah. And you can connect the dots too, because it really does tie into the Bible and everything really is tied together.
That's so cool.
So it'll just, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll just be like, okay, yes, you'll
Yeah.
just be concrete in your knowing and your, I guess, faith, if you want to use that word, but yeah, you know, it just makes it all.
Both of those words up.
Yeah.
Because on the last 2 days, I don't know if you guys remember in the in our last discussion, we had a special guest, and if you remember, he had said, I don't even have faith in myself. I don't have faith. I just have a know. He just, and I think I had mentioned, the knowing, and that really, really sparked me. I was just so like, I need to understand this. I need to understand this. I need to understand this.
Yeah.
And some of my friends are like, that's not a real word. I'm like,
It is now. It is now. Patented.
I like it.
Someone I love very dearly shared that with me, and it just it resonates with me a lot.
I think when he goes through and explains the animism and the other parts of things, then you go, then you understand, and that's why I said, can you explain that? Because then it comes full circle, and you understand, like, it's not with ego at all. It's with
No, it's not. I think
depth of
where it gets
understanding.
confused is when we say a knowing. There's a few different knowings out there. There's this world knowing within this time. Someone helped me understand this earlier, but in this time space, we have knowledge, which is something that is learned. Knowledge, that knowing of knowledge that is learned physically here in your lifetime. And then we have a knowing, and our knowing is that connection, that intuition where you just know. It never was given to you. You didn't pick it up anywhere. You just know it from your gut. And that's your connection with Source Free. It's just, you just know. It's a sense. It's a sense, just like hearing, smelling, tasting, all that it's, we were born with that gift of knowing and having that intuition. I think all of the social, everything outside of us has really brought us far from believing in that.
Yeah.
And faith is in it. It's there next to it. It's with it. And to say, I don't have faith. I'm in a knowing space. That is, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't have a faith? Well, faith. When me and my daughter were talking about it, and we were thinking, how can we really understand both of them? And faith seemed to be more, it was like, faith is there when you don't believe in the knowing. also. Grab that faith, grab that hope, hold on to that, you know, to have something, so it's, I don't know, it's very something that I'm just, it's one of my lessons right now that I'm working with.
Cool.
This knowingness and how faith, they almost feel like the same thing.
Well,
I feel like, it's a
conscious
tool.
and unconscious. You know?
I feel like it's a tool to use in your knowingness. And when you forget your knowingness and you go farther away from it, you always have faith to choose. You always have that hope and faith to choose and help. And it also feels like maybe the knowingness is more objective. That knowingness, that certainty is more of an objective thing. And the faith is more of a, you know, where it's a feeling. Like because it isn't feeling.
Sometimes you need it. Sometimes you gotta whip it out. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I don't use that word a lot, but once in a while, I'm like,
I
no,
have
man.
faith in this.
You gotta use that
It's
word
almost
once in a
like
while.
a feeling. I mean, just like the knowing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cute. It's kind of interesting. It's very interesting to me.
I agree. Actually, so yeah, I just want to round back to the fact that we're going to be talking with Nicole about the astrology and bring in some of that interesting information in. And that's actually going to be on Monday. So we're meeting here at the Alpena Salt Spa every Wednesday at 4:30. So we welcome you to bring friends. We actually have munchies here. And it's free. It's just a community discussion, lifting the veil, seeing the truth, seeing what we haven't seen in the past. The veil between us and what's been hidden from us is much thinner now than it ever was. And it's time for us to look at it. So we are so thankful to be at the Alpena Salt Spa. It's right downtown next to Save-A-Lot. And Lisa does so many beautiful services here. So we definitely want you guys to check it out and look into it. And we're sitting in salt crystals right now. It's
About
beautiful.
raising your vibration.
It's raising our vibration. So come sit on a meditation pillow with us. We also have regular chairs. And yeah, this Monday, we're also going to be going live.
What time?
We aren't sure yet. It's going to be in the afternoon or evening. So we're working on that with Nicole. And yeah, we look forward to that with you guys. So
And we'll let you know ahead of time, of course.
yeah, and so definitely share this information with people that you know need to hear it. And we're so thankful. Do you guys have anything else you want to add? Or are we? We're trying to stick to an hour or so.
Yeah.
So I think we're good.
Just gratitude to everyone out there.
High five, high
And
five,
yes,
yes.
and everyone here within this space where I'm physically here, and just really grateful and thankful. And, you know, come join us. Come join us if you're curious. And if this isn't your thing, we've got like 20, 30 classes that you might have some fun in, learn some stuff in, gain some experience, skills, anything that could help and assist you in so many different random ways. You just got a whole bunch of stuff. A whole
Yeah,
bunch of stuff.
it's beautiful.
Yes.
Calm in the storm. We all need that. So thank you so much. Shannon, it's so good to see your face from across the state, from downstate. I'm so glad we can connect.
From the other, what is it? The other side of the shore?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Kitty corner, she's over by Grand Rapids, we're up in Alpena.
Bust out the map.
The map. All right, well, thanks you guys for joining us. We appreciate you, and we look forward to hopefully having conversation with you soon.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Is this? Oh, I did it.
I can still hear you.
Hi.
Still on there?
She's probably still on there.